Charleston County School District is like many other school districts, plagued with some very serious problems that beg our correction. And one of the most glaring problems is the racial disparity that leads directly to poor achievement for students of color. This and the other disparities create a deleterious effect for the entire district, including affecting our morale and our outcomes. Hello friends, I'm the Reverend Dr. Brian C. Henderson, the proud pastor of St. James Presbyterian Church on James Island. The disparities in suspensions and expulsions among African American students are ridiculous. And after hearing the stories in 2014 of our parents who talk about their students being arrested and suspended at crazy rates, we did some research and discovered that some of CCSD's schools are suspending 50% of their students. African American students are suspended at a rate 9.7 higher than their white peers, and they're arrested 8 times faster. In 2019, many of us discovered that at least 39% of African American students have been suspended in CCSD schools. This was a problem that needs to be addressed. Our research led us to restorative practices, which is a philosophy that helps us to repair relationships and build school communities and help us to appreciate the diversity and learn how to speak one another's languages. Restorative practices builds healthy communities and increases social capital. It decreases crime and antisocial behavior and repairs harm and restores relationship. Schools that have successfully implemented restorative practices in Baltimore, Maryland, and Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, have seen sharp reductions in student suspensions and arrests because the philosophy really and truly works. And CCSD knows it. Back in 2014 at our Nehemiah Action, CCSD committed to implementing RP. And particularly recently, they've committed to implementing RP in our District 2 and 4 schools, the middle schools there. Over the summer, CAJM's Education Steering Committee worked closely with CCSD leaders in creating a stakeholder summit in which leaders from District 2 and 4 were there discussing RP. The International Institute for Restorative Practices, who facilitated the Stakeholder Summit, left 8 very strong recommendations for CCSD, and 2 of them are particularly important to us. The first one is for the district to construct a written plan for implementation over the next 2 to 4 years for RP. And the second one is to really determine our capacity to train everybody that needs to be trained. To its credit, CCSD has trained 800 plus people to implement restorative practices in schools. But the training, without a clear plan for implementation, does nothing. So the plan is essential. And while 800 people have been trained, there are a lot more than 800 people in the district, so we still got some work to do. We're pushing CCSD to create a 2 to 4 year implementation plan for district-wide RP. Our steering committee plans to continue our efforts in making the community aware of what RP can do and has done across the country. And we've also scheduled some research visits so that we can learn what it means to develop the type of plan needed for whole district implementation of RP. Now, let me tell you what you can do. Number 1, you can join the education committee. Check your CAJM Manna for that, and you'll find details about our meetings and what we're doing. Number 2, you can ask your school officials, your principals and teachers about RP if they've been trained, and when do they look to implement it in the schools. You can find out more about RP by doing research or by reaching out to me or one of the other education steering committee leaders so we can give you material that you can develop and learn for yourself. And you can continue to join us as we press the district to do what's right and to make the choices that will better affect our schools and our students and our communities. Help us help CCSD do what's right.